before I introduce Reba McClanan, I would like to acknowledge some of her family that's here today. First, of course, her husband of many, many years, Glenn McClanan. Glenn. And we have her three children who are here. Martin. And I take it it's Glenn Jr., is that correct? And her daughter Ann, who tells me she flew in last night and she's flying out today. So
no, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, because she has a 6-year-old at home she's got to get back to take care of. So we're delighted that all of you were able to be here with us today also. The guest of honor today, of course, is a lady who all of us know and love and admire for her dedication to the beautification of this city. And this fragrance garden that we have today is dedicated in her name because of that dedication to the city of Virginia Beach and the beautification of Virginia Beach. All of us, as we go through the garden, will notice that there are stations in the garden that have different fragrances so that people in wheelchairs or who are blind, the fragrance will tell you which kind of flower and plant it is that's circled around the garden. It's a very unique idea, very unique garden, and I know that as you walk around through it, you're going to be impressed by the thinking that's gone into the development of this very important feature in the park. Having said that and having acknowledged how important Reba has been to our city over the years, I'd like you to welcome Reba McClanan.
Thank you so much. Such nice remarks. I think I probably would be just as well off to sit down and kind of leave it as is, because these two gentlemen I really did enjoy working with over the years. They've both been very kind to me, and it was a pleasure always. And I found that was so true with so many people during the time that I was on council. And I appreciate all of you being here today, because this garden is not just in recognition of me, it's in recognition of what all you all have done, because without those of you who have been there to help and share in it, we would not be here today. I was a very green council member representing the Princess Anne district when I came on council, and let me tell you, that was in the heyday of development, and this corridor out here was in the process of being created. In a very short time, I became an expert in fields I knew nothing about. Engineering, road building, housing development, you name it. I had to know, or at least pretend I knew what I was talking about. And I did that sometimes. I'll be very honest about it. And I bluffed a little bit too. But before that, I was president of the Council of Garden Clubs in 1973 to 75, when these gardens were eventually initiated here in Red Wing. And we have the Rose Garden over here, the Miyazaki Garden back here, the Japanese garden. We have these gardens here, and my hope is that it's time now that they all be rejuvenated and done. I'm not necessarily at city expense, but I'm hoping that a private and nonprofit groups such as the Council of Garden Clubs and other businesses and groups will help to put them in the class that they should be. This is really one of the most beautiful places in America. When I read these things about how we've done such a great job with open space, parks, recreation, it's because of all that's gone on before, but the more important thing is the command and the demand for what we do in the future. And we have the staff and the commitment as we've had in the past from both the council and from the citizens who care and know and appreciate what is quality. I do want to say that, and then I want to thank my friends, my family, and you as citizens. And I especially want to mention some groups that have been extremely helpful to me over the years. Some of them I've served in offices in their organization, others I've just admired and worked with, and they have been there for me. I'd like to recognize the Plaza Civic League, the Plaza Garden Club, and they're all their members, the Country Gardeners Guild, the Council of Garden Clubs, the Beautification Commission, and several of you are here today from those organizations, and the City Council, the mayors. I had the great pleasure of working with Mr. Highshover, with Mayor Jones, and with Mayor Obendorf, and all of them were extremely, I felt, fair to me, and at times they probably got a little irritated, aggravated with me, but if they did, they didn't show it. And I think that requires remarkable, well, lots of things. You all understand what I'm saying. Sometimes harder as a politician to figure out the right way, and sometimes it's better to say nothing. That's one of the things I never learned. I always said too much. Usually couldn't stop once I got started, and kept going, and they were always very tolerant. Now, our city manager, Mr. Spohr, and his department heads and deputies and so forth have always been there to talk and to discuss, and have been very open-minded and tolerant in dealing with me, and very courteous, and I have appreciated that. We're blessed with some wonderful department heads, and Cindy Curtis, you and your Department of Parks and Recreation. One of my first jobs with the city, in addition to teaching, was I taught sewing for Parks and Recreation in the evening and at night. Nobody remembered that. There's nobody around that remembers that. I remembered it, and I learned a lot. But Parks and Recreation has really grown until they provide a backbone for our community, very similar to our educational system. And that is to be commended, I think, because very few cities have the broad-based department that we have here. And I wanted to, something that I used the other day when I was at the Planning Commission on an issue that's coming up that's very near and dear to me, and that is, just remember, Virginia Beach was green before green was cool. And it's okay to clap. And the fact, we were ahead of our time and didn't know it, because that you have been there, and we've kept what we have. A lot of places, a park that is this near to your tourist oceanfront community would have been chopped down, built up like the rest of the business area here, and many other things would have happened. But my experience over the years has been that citizens are there for us and with us, and if they're not behind us, then we shouldn't be there. And so you as citizens provide the impetus and the guides that will keep us all going and keep our city what it has been, what it is now, and what it shall be in the future, because this city is a great city. We're not only the biggest city in the state, but we're marvelous. And this honor today, I can never begin to thank all of you enough. There are other people like Rick Rowe, he and Amy Woodson have worked so hard on this event today. Eddie Barnes has been my friend for life. He's put up with my complaining and carrying on over the years. I just hope he didn't record any of it, because he could blackmail me. Because some days when I got really down and out, I said some things I didn't really say them, Eddie. And with that, I think my son has a few words he wants to say.